11:59 at night. You are in bed watching one more video, which is a lie you tell yourself because it is never one more video. At midnight, the video stops to buffer. The little wheel spins and spins, and then the Wi-Fi icon quietly disappears everywhere on Earth all at once. The internet is gone. Not slow. Not down for maintenance. Gone. And here is the fun part. By the end of this video, you will know what the internet actually is, physically, and why the whole thing hangs by a few hundred glass threads at the bottom of the ocean. Here is how this works. This is not a blackout. The power stays on. Lights work. Fridges hum. Hospitals have electricity. We only unplug the internet, every cable, every cloud, every password, and then we watch civilization try to remember how it worked in 1993. We run this experiment so you never have to. Minute 1. Denial planet-wide. 4 billion people restart their routers at the same moment, which does nothing, but feels like leadership. It is not your router. It is not your neighbor's router. There is a man in a group chat who was losing an argument at midnight, and now he has lost it forever. The last message ever delivered says, well, actually, fitting. Somewhere, an influencer keeps streaming into a dead phone for 3 full hours, on principle, describing her breakfast to 0 viewers. Somewhere else, a man who has replied to emails within 4 minutes for 11 straight years sits very still, experiencing silence for the first time since college. Doctors will later name this condition inbox phantom syndrome. He keeps hearing notifications that do not exist. Hour 1. Money gets weird first. The card readers show a word nobody likes. Offline. Card machines are just phones that call a bank, and the bank is not picking up because the call goes over the internet. The cash machines follow. A coffee shop flips a handwritten sign, cash only, and the line splits into 2 kinds of people. People with paper money, and people offering to send it later, bro, I promise. A man tries to pay with his smartwatch by holding it against the register, twice like a magic trick that stopped working. Cash, it turns out, is the only payment system with no server. Its uptime is 100% since the invention of pockets. Day 1. Work becomes interpretive theater. Offices discover that every tool they own was a browser tab. Somebody finds a fax machine in a storage room and becomes regional royalty by noon. Hospitals switch to paper charts, which is slower but works because medicine never fully trusted the cloud in the first place. Smart move. Airlines fall back to radio and paper lists. The planes are fine. The lines are biblical. The gamers emerge around noon, blinking, like a species surfacing from the deep. Outside is rendering at a resolution they do not remember agreeing to. One of them touches grass, ironically at first, then sincerely. A speedrunner walks to the store and back in record time, out of habit, and is quietly disappointed that nobody is keeping the leaderboard. Do not worry about the gamers. Of everyone on Earth, they have trained hardest for an apocalypse. They just expected more zombies. And here is a plot twist for your pocket. Your GPS still works. The blue dot on your phone does not need the internet. It listens to satellites for free like a radio. What died is the map underneath the dot, unless you downloaded it ahead of time. A prepared phone shows a map. An unprepared phone shows a confident blue floating in gray nothing, which is honestly a mood. Also back from the dead. Actual radio. AM and FM never needed the internet. The oldies station becomes the national news network by dinner. The DJ has waited 40 years for this moment. Week 1. The stores get strange. There is food, but the shelves thin out in weird patches because the food was never the problem. The system that tells every truck where to go, that was online. Modern supply chains are a ballet of just-in-time deliveries choreographed by computers talking to computers, and the orchestra has left the building. Meanwhile, a black market emerges for a printed object nobody has seen in years. Maps. Paper maps. A man trades a phone charger for a road atlas and both sides think they won. The local newspaper, which everyone assumed was dead, triples its print run and hires teenagers to ride bicycles and literally throw information at houses. A delivery system with no servers, no passwords, and a latency of 1 morning. The town notice board becomes the comments section, except with names attached and a maximum font size, which improves the discourse roughly 1000%. The kids meet boredom for the first time, unsupervised by an algorithm. There is a rough first week. Then bicycles appear. Then a ball. By day 10, the neighborhood has a football league with handwritten standings taped to a garage door. Nobody films it. It still counts. Month 1. The fix begins, and the fix is boats. Because here is what the internet actually is under all the apps. It is roughly 700 cable systems, more than 1.5 million kilometers of glass fiber, lying on the seafloor, carrying about 99% of all traffic between continents. Not satellites. Cables. Tubes of light at the bottom of the sea, some no thicker than a garden hose. And when they break, humanity's entire repair plan is a fleet of fewer than 70 specialized ships. 70 ships for the nervous system of the species. Each one drags a hook along the seabed, fishes up a broken cable from kilometers down, splices glass threads together by hand, under a microscope on a rocking boat, and lowers it back. That is the internet's ambulance service. You have more delivery drivers in your city than Earth has cable ships. And now the real lesson in 3 parts, and the first one changes how you see everything. The internet is not a cloud. It is physical. It is glass under the ocean, buildings full of humming computers, and cold rooms where the cloud actually lives, which is to say, somebody's very large basement with very good air conditioning. Every photo you have ever backed up exists as tiny electrical charges in a real place with a real address and a real electricity bill. The cloud is just other people's computers wearing a nice name. And between those computers, the networks meet in real buildings called exchange points, unmarked and boring on purpose, where the cables of rival companies physically plug into each other, because the internet is not one network. It is thousands of networks agreeing voluntarily to pass each other's mail. The entire thing runs on cooperation between competitors. That agreement, not any single wire, is the actual miracle. Part 2. Your money is mostly a database. When the network died, the number in your banking app did not vanish, but your ability to prove it, spend it, and move it did. Cash is the offline backup of civilization, which is why, even in a world of taps and swipes, central banks quietly insist that paper money keeps existing. Keep some. Not under your mattress, but not zero. Part 3. Notice what kept working. Satellites, sending their signals to anyone who listens. Radio, shouting cheerfully into the void since the 1920s. Paper, undefeated since ancient Egypt. And skills, the things in your head and hands. Every system that survived our experiment has one thing in common. It does not need permission from a server to function. That is worth thinking about when you decide where to keep the important parts of your life. But also, to be fair to the tubes, here is the comforting truth hiding inside the scary one. Real cables break all the time. Ship anchors, earthquakes, curious sharks, it is a rough neighborhood down there. You never notice because the internet is built like a spider web, not a chain. Traffic reroutes around damage in seconds. Killing one cable is a Tuesday. Killing all of them at once is basically impossible, which is exactly why we had to do it as a cartoon. The grand finale. Month 4. The splices hold, the exchanges hum, and at noon on a Sunday, the Wi-Fi icon fades back in, everywhere, all at once. Humanity takes a breath. And then, in perfect unison, 4 billion people post the exact same thing. You will not believe what happened to me. The first thing to fully load, after 4 months of silence, is an advertisement. Civilization is back. Epilogue. The neighborhood football league keeps playing on Sundays by unanimous vote. The oldies DJ gets a statue, which he says is too much, from behind sunglasses, clearly delighted. And one man frames a short blue Ethernet cable above his fireplace, next to a jar of cash labeled, in careful handwriting, just in case. He learned. You can too. Next time at the academy, every human on Earth wakes up with the thinking power of a golden...
Hey, it's the Dean. Still here, still offline, prof. Tonight's homework is 1 hour, not one number. Build the Smile offline kit, some cache at home, enough for a normal week. Download the offline map of your city. It takes 2 minutes. Write the 5 phone numbers that matters on real paper. And meet the neighbors before you need the neighbors. The internet is wonderful. It is also somebody else's machine. Keep the important things where no server can lose them.
Retriever. Traffic lights, nuclear plants, group projects. Who keeps the lights on when nobody remembers how lights work? Bring a helmet. You have been watching The Absurd Academy, where the scenarios are fake and the lessons are load-bearing. Class dismissed.